Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome along to the wilds of Suffolk. I'm going to have to check this to make sure it's all running. I'm out here yet again doing what I do, walking along in beautiful locations, and today is absolutely gorgeous, as you can see by my surroundings, walking along the beach in a t-shirt in the UK. Welcome. If it's your first time here, welcome along. I hope you enjoy what I'm doing today. For your returning subscriber, or 1,400, woo! 1,400 of you, welcome back, or welcome one and all. It's an honour and a privilege to have you join me for these walks, so thank you for being here. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it. So, today, by the title, I'm entitling this video, Raising Children in the Digital Age, as I record a video digitally to upload to YouTube. Makes perfect sense? I hope so. By the end of this video, I hope that this message gets to those people who are raising children, or who are around children who are growing up in this age of the internet, because it is fraught with danger and malice, I think. So this video and this topic is stemming from a conversation that my wife had with my oldest, or not my oldest child, but our oldest child, who's 15 years old. And my wife was out with her for the day, and as they were driving back, my daughter said, "Did you see that Elon Musk did the Nazi salute at the conference?" So my wife was talking with her about it. She said, well, firstly, it wasn't a Nazi salute. Let's get that right off the table to start with. But the media is reporting it as such. So then, of course, being a teenager, my daughter disagreed, and they argued over the veracity of the claim that it was indeed a Nazi salute, and that he was, signifying to all the other Nazis in the audience. I mean, it's preposterous. So it's because of this. My wife and I have discussed these kind of subjects with each other and with our children many, many times. And of course, when you're a teenager, you know everything. I'm sure if we can all remember our teenage years, we all knew we didn't want to listen to our parents. Oh, those fuddy-duddies, those oldies. They're outdated generation. They don't know what they're talking about. Why would I listen to them? And here we are, as parents of teenage children, trying to ensure the safety of our children from not only predators, that are being allowed to be predators on the streets of our countries, wherever you may be. I'm sure it's the same where you are. Certainly in this country, being protected by police that are actually engaged in the same activities that they're not arresting people for. Make sense? So, I'll see if I can do it that way. There we go. So, we've discussed this many times, but we had a discussion about this particular incident with our child, and the hardest part about doing this, about raising children, I mean, it's difficult raising children anyway. As a parent, you give up so much of your life for your children. Your time and your effort. If you're a mother, you're giving up your life for your children for many, many years, and it never stops. It's a constant, ongoing struggle and a battle to ensure you're providing a stable home environment for your child, whether you're a single mother or a single father, or a family unit, whatever that may consist of. And we are trying to instruct and guide our children with some moral guidelines, and this is me talking about morals here, which is odd to say the very least. I've done some morally questionable things over the years. I've never gone out to hurt people deliberately. Obviously, some of the actions that I've taken throughout my life have resulted in some people getting hurt, but it's never been malicious. And I have to try and convey some moral standard to my children, and we have to represent that through our actions ourselves. We have to try and live how we want our children to be an example to our children, of course. So with these kind of subjects, and with this particular subject of how do you guide children through this minefield that is the digital age and the disinformation, misinformation, downright lies that are presented on a daily basis to not only children but to us all. Now, without trying to be authoritarian parents, because authoritarianism really doesn't work and it just backfires spectacularly more often than not. You can't restrict, as soon as you try and restrict access to, or what's the word I'm looking for? Prohibit. Prohibition doesn't work for anything. Prohibition on drugs or alcohol, all these kind of things. Prohibition doesn't work, never has. So it is trying to find a meaningful way to interact with children and indeed other adults, to find a way to communicate messaging and how to combat messaging that is not serving anybody through the media. Which is why I do these videos in the first place. I come out here, I speak my mind, I talk about things that are happening in the public consciousness, and try and start discussions about those kind of subjects. Morning or afternoon now, isn't it? How are you? And by starting conversations about these subjects, it is this communication is key to us all moving forward to a place of understanding where we can make better decisions about what we take in as our belief system, right? And that's even more so with children, because children are impressionable and can be easily swayed by their peers or by influences within the social construct that is social media and these kind of platforms, Twitter, TikTok, where the information's getting passed around. And also through gaming platforms like Roblox and those kind of things, where they have, it's a children's platform, but during Pride Month, they target children with messaging about pride, gay pride and transgender, which I find highly offensive. That's not to say that I find being gay offensive, but I find it highly offensive to be targeting children with that kind of agenda. And I believe that targeting of children is deliberate, because the social engineers want a depopulation. And how best to depopulate? Well, if people are gay, they're not going to have children, right? Oh, Chris, you're such a conspiracy theorist. Oh, God. How can you possibly say that? Well, and hello to whoever the poor MI5 or the person who has to watch this kind of nonsense to make sure I'm not crossing the boundary from speaking my mind into unlawful content when I'm putting down a certain proportion of the population, very small proportion of the population, to become a far-right terrorist. So poor you, boo-hoo, cry some more. So what I found was to have that meaningful point of interaction with children, especially teenagers, where they're being bombarded with these messages from their friends and from their, from the influence around them that's everywhere. We're being bombarded by the front pages of the newspapers everywhere. Donald Trump's a monster, he's Nazi, all this kind of rhetoric that we hear on a daily basis. And it's not just children that are prone to this. I mean, obviously, look at what happened during COVID. Adults were, they were told to believe, trust the science, when there was none. And they were being told to just trust in we've done the numbers, we've done the science, by the very people that were disobeying their own rules. So we try and have that open dialogue with our children, where we talk to them about these subjects, even though they get pissed off with us. They get pissed off when we talk about things politically. Oh, politics. I'm not interested in politics, Dad. I'm 15 or I'm 13, I'm not interested in politics. It doesn't affect me. And I said, well, the politicians are the ones making the laws. So it does affect you. Now, over all these years that we've been having these conversations with the children and talking about, obviously, the dangers of people online, you don't know who you're talking with. You know, there's a lot of predators out there who will take advantage of children. And, you know, the pedos that are actively grooming children, not just in Rotherham and those kind of areas, but in the higher halls of power, you know, in the police and indeed in politics. You know, I have heard that a former PM of this country, of the UK, was a paedophile. Maybe not just a former, who knows? Who knows? Two-tier Keir is, you know, protecting pedos. Why would he do that? Don't know. I don't know. But we have our now king was best friends with a paedophile, and his brother, another prince of this nation, was best friends with a different paedophile. So Jimmy Savile and Jeffrey Epstein, both friends of royalty. I don't know why two-tier Keir would be protecting paedophiles and grooming gangs. I had no idea when he was the head of the Chief Prosecution Service. Is that right? The Crown Prosecution Service. Sorry, Crown Prosecution Service. He was the head of that and didn't go after any of these grooming gangs because that would be insensitive and Islamophobic and racist, of course. So we have to throw in all the pronouns and to ensure we're not upsetting anybody. We can't arrest anybody. It's crazy town. Look at what's happening in London. The Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, you know, being questioned with the increase in knife crime and the youth crime and all these things. Are you really proud of what you've done? He said, "Of course I am." Yeah. Now we've been talking with our children about the things that are going on in the world, and with very mixed results. And obviously, when they say we don't want to know about politics or finance, when we say, look, everything's been politicised. You have politicians talking about all these things, so it doesn't matter what we say. It's all been politicised, so we can't mention anything. You see, and if you do mention it, oh, you're far right, or you're, you know, a Nazi, or a whatever label they're putting on people now who want to question anything because conspiracy theorist isn't working anymore. You know, conspiracy theorist, I've adopted it as a badge of honour. Like, oh, you're calling me a conspiracy theorist? Thank you so much. You know, thank you, from my heart. Yes, I'll give the Roman salute as well. Thank you, Enon. Yeah. No doubt someone will take a still shot of that and be like, oh, the far right conspiracy theorists out there. If I was in the trees, they'd probably say, out there, far right conspiracy theorists instigating trees to stand up against Match.com because of a misunderstanding where, oh, hello, we've got some seals on the beach here. Wait, I'll turn this camera around. See the seals on the beach? We got a baby one there as well. There's one out here in the water. You see those? We really are in the wilds of Suffolk. I didn't realise we had the wild seals out today. It's amazing. And a baby one of that. I'll see if I can get a little bit closer. I don't want to disturb them, obviously. That's amazing. I'll come up the back here so I can... As you can see, there's fences everywhere here because they're building the new nuclear power station. But there we go. A bit of wildlife. You can see those seals there? I hope you can. It's there's one out there in the water just watching, probably daddy. He's the daddy. The little baby seals here being protected by mummy. It's alright, you stay there. Oh, I'm not coming near you. Hey. Lucky little seal doesn't have to worry about the social media influence that we do. But there we go, pretty cool, huh? We got some wild seals on the beach. That's where I live. It's a pretty cool place to live. But anyway, back to the subject. So we've been talking with the children about these kind of subjects for a long, long time, and mostly been ignored or told, oh, I don't want to talk about politics, or, you know, blah, 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 whatever the reasoning is that they don't want to talk about it. And then the children were talking at the kitchen table with me the other day, and another one they said, so it's up to 4 or 5 now, of YouTube channels that they watch of these social media influencers, or YouTube channels that talk about children's gaming, like Minecraft, or these kind of. Another one has just been arrested for paedophilia. That's number 4 or 5 now. So for over all these years that my wife and I have been talking to the children about these subjects, and alerting to them to the dangers of people online who will pose as one thing and be something entirely different, is actually in their face now. So we have, over the years, we've had to fight our case, regardless of the pushback from our children saying, I don't want to hear it anymore, I'm tired of hearing it, to now we've got to a point where our children actually recognise it because they're actually coming into contact with it themselves. So what I'm trying to get to, I think, is, and what this channel's been about for 4 years now, and thank you for everyone who's joined me for all these videos, me walking along and talking my craziness, that a lot of the stuff I've been talking about has been labelled as conspiracy theorists, or you're not allowed to talk about it. Certain subjects you're not allowed to discuss, of course, that I would discuss anyway, regardless. But I've been vindicated, and as has a lot of the people that have been doing this kind of content, have been vindicated in their thoughts, because they were told they couldn't talk. We've been told with the certain subjects we're not allowed to talk about. We've been dictated to by a corrupt government to keep our mouths shut about things that we're not supposed to talk about. But all those things that we weren't supposed to talk about have now been coming out to be true, a lot of them, so far. Not all of them confirmed as yet, but so far we've had a pretty high success rate of the things that we were talking about and trying to share the message through. Even though, just like our children, a lot of adults were sticking their fingers in their ear, sticking their hand over their eyes, and keeping their mouth shut because they didn't want to be seen as far-right conspiracy theorists. We persevered anyway and kept on sharing, kept on talking, never letting up, never giving in. Keep on sharing that message, because when people are confronted with it, just like my children were, when they're finally confronted with the information that, through the mainstream sources that they can't avoid, when they're finally confronted with that information, it's like, oh God. Yeah. So now we've got to a point where my children recognise it. We got to a point where people who are denying the very information that would have saved their lives or would have saved their loved ones is now being revealed. And it's not the vindication that we're after, but it is now we're finally getting to a point where we can say, okay, well, we've been right about all that, all the things that we've been talking about all these years, we've been right about all that. What's the likelihood that we may be right about some of the other things that we're talking about, like the corruption in the financial services and the bank and the how money is created and taxation and all these things? Maybe there's something else we need to look at, rather than just thinking, okay, we're right about that, but you're wrong about everything else. And this is the approach that we've taken with our children, is to say to them, the things that we've been talking to you about all these years, even though you haven't wanted to hear it, have turned out to be true. And maybe we know a little bit more than what you give us credit for, because the old fuddy-duddy parents, what do they know? They're a different generation, they don't know. Maybe you should suspend your disbelief for longer than 2 seconds and maybe listen to what we have to say, and then take it with a pinch of salt, of course, because I don't expect anybody to believe a word that I say. But when you're confronted with information that might confirm some of that, then maybe you need to adopt a different way of looking at information that comes to you, because a lot of the information sources that you've used to form your worldview have misinformed you. So, this started out as a thought in my mind of a message to parents and to people who are raising children, to how do you interact with those people that don't want to hear it, because it's coming from a source that's like, oh, mum and dad, oh, you're old people, you don't know. Maybe this video wasn't really about children. Maybe it's about having a look at the world through a different viewpoint and thinking, okay, so maybe the information sources that I've been using to form my worldview were wrong. And maybe I need to start thinking about where I get my news from and who I'm listening to, and why would the people that I trusted to tell me the truth, why would they lie? And why would the people who I didn't trust, and why didn't I believe them? So, they're the questions that I came out with today, and the questions I pose to you. And I'd like to hear your feedback on this and your thoughts on this, because I make these videos for, because I want to talk about what I'm thinking and share that with the wider audience to gauge where their head's at, because it's not as simple as it's all made out to be. And where do you find your news, and how do you filter through what's real and what's complete garbage? And I'm open to anything. I've told you, you can see with the subjects I've spoken about, I'm open to anything. Like, I don't want to accept anything as real, and I'm willing to question my belief system and where I get my information from if I wasn't coming up with results that have turned out to be true. So, with all that said, go out into the world, do good and be good, and you can change the world with the way that you think, where you get your information from, what you're sharing with people, how you talk with people, and the persistence in sharing a message that you think can help other people, because that is the way that we change things. Not by being meek and mild and going, well, I couldn't possibly say that, because if I do, I'm going to be cast out. Much like you are, Chris. Cast out from the polite society for believing absolute crazy things. Have you experienced that as well? Maybe not just from your children, but from your peer group, from your friends and family. I know I have. So, whenever I do these talks, I listen, I read all the comments. Of course, I respond. I can't always directly respond to you all, but know that it buoys me to know that people are walking with me and taking in this information, even if you don't believe everything I say. I don't believe anything. I don't want you to believe anything I say. Clearly I'm a crazy person who questions whether the world's round. That makes me crazy enough for people to switch off and go, no, I don't want to listen to this crazy person anymore. And I appreciate everyone being here, the comments, the likes, the love that I get, and the message that I get from all of you through whatever platform we're interacting through. And know that even if I can't respond to your message directly, I am thinking and grateful that you're here with me, and I hope that you'll stick with me for this journey, because there's still lots on the table. There's still lots to do, and I won't give up. I won't back down. I'm not giving in. And as this journey that I'm on, this, especially within crypto, starts to really pick up and change the world through how crypto is going to, that my interactions with it as well, I'll be sharing with those, and my journeys throughout the earth over the course of the next couple of years, because I plan on doing some pretty crazy shit. So stick with me for the ride, because things are heating up, and I hope that as I start to talk about the next projects I'm going to take on, I mean, it's been delayed so many times. There's things I want to do. I'll be doing a cooking program, just to give you a bit of a taster. I'll be doing a cooking program for mums or parents in general, what to cook for children that's healthy and meals that kids will love. I'll be doing a cooking program. I'll be self-funding that whole thing. So that's one of the projects I've got in the works. It's quite a big thing to take on, but that's coming. And that'll be a sort of an offshoot of what I do here, and there'll be other things as well. So thank you to you all for being here. If you like what I'm doing, hit the like button. If it's your first time here and you like what I'm saying, or you're intrigued as to the crazy person walking on the beach today, maybe drop a subscribe and stay tuned for much more, because as things start to progress, things will get interesting, I promise you. So thank you one and all for joining me, and most important, go out into the world, do good, be good, look after yourself and look after each other, and I look forward to seeing you real soon. Ciao for now.